and welcome to Love Island, the Morning After podcast, the only official Love Island podcast where we discuss all the drama from the night before. This morning, we are joined by the lovely Mariam Musa.
Woo!
And we have Chris Taylor joining us again.
I'm back.
Nice to see you here this morning.
Actually, I never left. I sleep in that little cupboard there. I hear everything you do.
Yeah, guys, are you ready to do it?
Yeah. So
Ready to get into it? Come on, let's huddle.
Let's do it, let's do it.
Ready? We've got to do the podcast.
I love all the energy this morning.
Honestly, we're ready to start our day. So,
All that energy.
shall we get into it and talk about that recoupling?
Yes.
Let's kick it off and start off with Nicole. She chose Kieran, and she also confirmed that they are 140%, not 100, not 80, but 140% committed to each other.
It's just too much, isn't it? Anything over 100% and you're just being ridiculous.
I mean, it's
you may as well
physically
say,
possible.
I'm infinity% committed to you.
What, we're week 2? How are you guys committed already? And it's like, we've already had one girl bombshell come in to test. Already had one guy bombshell come in to test. So you guys haven't actually been tested yet to be committed so early.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And can we maybe think that because they are a favourite couple, they were in the top 4, they're already thinking ahead like, do you know what? We're already like kind of leading this race. Why do we need to jump ship? Or why do we need to see what's around? We could win this.
Yeah.
That could potentially be it.
Yeah.
I think they've bought a house together in their heads.
Yeah.
They've got a dog. They've got the white fence.
Yeah.
And they're signing off. But you're right, they haven't had the test yet.
Yeah.
And I think for Kieran in particular, the test is going to come around the Casa Moore area.
Yes.
Because let's face it, he's quite young.
Yeah.
He's only 21. Is his
Oh,
head
God, I
going to be
forgot
turned at Casa? That's my gut feeling at the minute.
Yeah.
What do
Do
you
you know
think?
what? I agree with you. And I feel like 2 weeks in, if Maya, for example, came in and was like, oh, is your head going to be turned at Casa? If anyone turns around and says no, I think you're maybe telling porcupines because it's 2 weeks in. Quite frankly, I understand the bond. I've been there, but you don't know that person at 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It is
And
too soon.
you don't know who could walk through that door in weeks to come.
It's very premature to be saying
very
140%.
Because you're basically saying you're not going to get to know anyone, which for me, I don't think that makes any sense, especially if that person you'll couple up with, is that person actually your type on paper?
Yeah.
Is that outside of this villa in that normal environment? Would you go for this person without all of these rules, limitations?
Yeah, and
Love
at
Island?
the end of the day, you're not there to just find one person in week 2 and close yourself off. You're there to explore, date other people, shop around.
Yeah, but
So
I mean, the whole show is built around stopping that to a degree, innit?
Yeah.
And like testing it and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
They haven't had any tests yet. They're
No,
testless.
they've not.
They've had no
Yeah.
exams.
They've only had
No, they've
Harriet.
not.
They've only had Harriet, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose, they did have that test, to be fair, and he dealt with that quite well, and they've been like secure for a bit. But it's so early.
Yeah.
You
It's
can't be
very
saying that yet.
I love seeing tables shake. Like, I
Yeah.
love a little bit
It's
of
good
commotion.
for us.
Yeah, I love it.
Good for
So
us.
I do feel like with them two, we need to see it more because then it kind of shows how strong they are as well. If nothing happens and you're sailing through, then I think later on, we've seen it in the past with Liberty and Jake. We've seen that.
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
sailing through and then boom, come to the end.
Right
and
by
then,
when you need to be strong, he's
Exactly.
thinking, actually, you don't want to like,
Be too fast,
you don't want to be too hasty.
Yes.
And then 4 weeks in, when people are starting to settle down, you're the one being like,
Yeah.
I moved way too quick.
It's absolutely haste-delicious at the minute.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, moving on, we had Jess.
Yeah,
She
can we talk
chose
about
Sean.
that speech?
Can we talk about
Because
it?
I feel very hard done by
Yeah.
on behalf of Sean.
Yeah.
I feel like this man needs a little bit of a ceremony, actually. Because bless his heart, he's trying his hardest. He's the sweetest boy.
Yeah.
And he got a speech that was just slating Ronnie. He barely got a mention in
Yeah.
it. Like, I couldn't be stood there and like happy about that situation.
Yeah.
And then just go over and be like, yeah, I'm with Jess now.
Yeah.
Like, I feel for him.
Same.
For me personally, I had this feeling a couple episodes back when, who was it around the fire pit? Ronnie.
Yeah.
It was Ronnie.
Jess has taken a leaf out of Ronnie's
maybe
speech
they're
book.
quite similar. People
Jess.
talking about Harriet.
He did the exact same
Yeah,
thing.
we understand that you've been through stuff with Ronnie. He's
Yeah.
maybe not in your good books. But I will stand by it. When you're standing around that fire pit and it's your time to choose someone, talk about the person you're going to choose.
Talk about the
I don't
person.
give a monkeys about who you had an argument with,
Yeah.
who else you've got connection with,
Yeah.
or who else you're talking to. If you're going to pick me, talk about me. That is the only time in the villa they give you the floor to glorify your partner.
Yeah.
Do it.
I just feel like you could have like really given Ronnie a taste
Yeah.
of his medicine and not even given him the time of day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
talks about Sean and everyone.
would have been
just
way
been so
better.
much
Way better. Way better.
What's much better for her in that scenario to just block out the Ronnie stuff, speak loads of nice things about Sean. That just felt really unfair towards Ronnie. But leaving Sean in the crosshairs a little bit.
Yeah.
I just feel sorry for Sean now.
Yeah.
I want to give him a hug.
Yeah, and her facial expressions for me was very happy with herself, and I don't think she was realising maybe how Sean was feeling in that moment. Like, I didn't feel like maybe she reassured him, like, you okay?
Yeah.
Like, kind of thing like that. I was just, I've done my speech now.
Yeah. And I mean, like, if you get a good speech in that arena, right, your face lights up because people are saying nice things about you. But his facial expressions didn't change.
Yeah.
He deadpanned it all the way back to the bench and sat down, just deadpan.
I mean, with that being said, do we think that Sean maybe is being too nice? We heard him speak last night saying stuff like,
there's
he
no
would
doubt.
relocate.
Yeah.
Do we think maybe it's a little bit unbalanced?
Omar said that Jess likes a bad boy, right? And I feel like Sean, he isn't a bad boy.
No.
Let's face it.
But that's
Like,
not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
That's not a bad
But
thing.
I feel like the girl needs to be in their non-bad boy era to appreciate a nice guy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But I feel like the way that she's interacting with Ronnie shows that she is in the bad boy era still.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like, you might be able to enlighten me on this, girls. What even is a bad boy? Like, am I a bad boy?
Do you know what it is?
I'm not a bad boy.
No.
No, but you don't want to be.
No, and do you know what? There's bad boys in the sense of, okay, your line of work is bad.
You're a bad man.
But I think it's the lack of attention. Okay, so most times girls love when a guy chases them, but there's something about a guy when they're not chasing you. You feel like this thing like, why is he not chasing? Why is he not obsessed with him? And that makes you a bit more keen. I've had situations where
That makes so much
a
sense.
guy will start liking me, and then when it starts going less, you start doing more.
That's why nobody texts me back. I'm texting them 17 times a day.
Yeah, you got to play cool.
Oh.
You got to act like you don't want me.
Do you know
and
what? I'm
then,
learning so much being
you
here.
act like you don't want them too much. And I think that's what Ronnie's doing. When guys are quite chilled.
And
it's
Io, to be fair.
Yeah, when they play it cool. I don't know what it is. You just want them more. Can you agree a bit, Indiyah?
I understand where you're coming from, and I
Yeah.
can't relate, generally because I've in the past have gone for the quote-unquote bad boys, but not men that are bad to me. They just do bad things in life.
Is it?
Which I feel like I've grown
Okay.
out of because it's a thing where I'm 25.
Yeah.
I know what I want in life. I want a mortgage and I want a house.
Yeah.
And there's certain guys I feel like I used to speak to in the past. You weren't really doing things that could allow you to do that. You just didn't really have your head screwed on. But I get what you mean, as in like some women, I've had friends and I know from like just girly talks that when someone isn't giving you like all that attention, like what I like to do, I say from experience, I like to conquer men. It's kind of like, if you're gonna act like you don't like me,
I'll show you.
Consensually, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you like me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you like me.
Indiyah, that is such
It's that kind of vibe.
a thing. I don't know what it is about us. It's kind of like when we think we change a bad boy as well.
Yeah.
Is that what conquering is?
Yeah,
like if
Right,
you tell
okay.
me like
Settle down with
I'll
me.
change it. Like
Okay.
Yeah, you
But-
want him to change for you. Like
Yeah.
you want to be the girl he stops all the bad stuff for, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
But mine is more just sort of like, you're going to
Thought
act
you
like
meant
you
like
don't
a
like me, I'm going to make you like me.
Julius
Me
Caesar.
personally, I feel like when guys don't give me like attention, I'll voice it. I'll be like, okay, you're not really matching my energy. And if they're still like whatever, I will honestly run faster than anything.
Yeah.
See, but when you
I'm
do things
out.
like that, that puts the equilibrium back.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It
I'm
feels
so
like
big on. I'm so big on
a
removing
power
myself.
problem. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a disequilibrium in the power. Wow, too many big words. Sorry. There's no need for it. Absolutely no need for it. But
Not that I'm insecure, but I'm just a bit like, I don't really want to do this.
I ain't got time for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's fair enough.
I don't like stress and I don't like pressure.
Yeah.
Like if I feel like I'm pressuring you too much, I'm off.
So
I've got
that
too much
might
things
explain
going
a
on
little
in my
bit of why we've got this situation in the villa at the minute, which is like Ronnie and Io. They have the vast majority of the girls. I'm sat here
Yeah,
at
they
home
do.
thinking, what fragrance are they wearing? Is it pure horse pheromones? I don't understand.
They
But
do.
they're there with all of the girls, and it's probably because they've got the option, so they can be aloof about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that makes them bad boys.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I agree. And I feel like somewhere small like the villa, if you've got more than one girl on you, you're hot property.
Yeah.
From a girl's perspective, looking in, like if I'm there in the villa and then you've got two options, I'm going to be like,
Well, what did
sugar, honey, iced tea.
Yeah.
What did I do wrong in All Stars then?
Yeah.
Because I had 3 at the beginning.
And you lost them.
And I lost all 3. I need bad boy lessons.
That's so
Nah,
funny.
no.
I
I
need
don't
to
know.
wear
I
more
feel
leather.
liking a bad boy is very individual.
Yeah.
And I also think it comes with growth and with age. I feel like when you
Yeah.
start to grow up a bit,
I
you don't
agree.
want the stress.
I feel
No.
like you've come out of your bad boy era quite early because
yeah,
I know
'cause
a
I'm
lot
only
of girls
25.
30 odd that are
Yeah.
still in the bad boy
Bad boy
era.
era.
I feel like it's because I'm in a relationship and
Yeah.
I feel like I'm quite secure in my relationship and
Yeah.
things are going well.
But
I
you
feel like,
conquered Dammy.
I conquered
Yeah,
that.
that is very
I
true.
conquered that guy, but I feel like we matched each other's energy quite early
Yeah.
on. You know who I tried to conquer?
Yeah.
He didn't want me.
Yeah.
Akena, my friend. Tried to conquer your ass, you don't want me. Obviously, we're friends now, so it's calm. But
Yeah.
it's like, we went through that situation where it's like, okay, I'm going to give it a chance. 2 weeks, in fact.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, this isn't working. So I was like, I don't want this.
He's quite a chilled guy.
He's very chill. He's very
But
chill.
it's kind of like nonchalant. I feel like where I am as well, because I've had exes in the past who were quite nonchalant. Now, where I am, that's just a no for me. So that's kind of my idea of like a bad boy, someone that isn't in tune with their emotions.
Yes.
And isn't in tune with that side of like being openly loving.
So you want a retired bad boy? Or do you want to conquer him in the process of being a bad boy? Do you want to make him a good boy?
No, my boyfriend is actually a good guy. When you go to bed at peace,
God,
that's good.
I feel like some girls like the drama.
The drama, they do.
Some girls live for the drama.
I'm not gonna lie. Like in my single era, the drama can be exciting. It's fun. Like I will literally say it is fun. Yeah. But when you actually just have a different trajectory in life and you want to do different things, you want to chill. Like you want to be able to actually talk about like fun, lovey stuff without thinking, oh, you know what? It's just not going to happen.
I'm not sure.
I can't talk to him about going on pottery dates. He's just not going to have
that guy.
I'd love a pottery date. What a great idea for a date.
In week 1, things really heated up in the villa. Let's look back at all the pre-love fashion moments brought to you by our headline sponsor, eBay. Joey Essex made a grand entrance, stealing kisses and hearts from 3 of the girls while wearing a stylish Police cos jacket. Mimi looked stunning in her House of CB dress and fell head over heels for Io in his Harley-Davidson sleeveless tee, whilst Jess stunned in I Am Gia and a Juna Watanabe Commes des Garçons. And how can we not mention the iconic Red Party? All the Islanders looked incredible in their pre-love fits, with Patsy rocking a red latex dress worn by Georgia Steele in All Stars and Ronnie sporting a red Represent varsity jacket. The Islanders are definitely bringing the red hot heat. Check out eBay for villa-inspired fashion and celebrate a summer of pre-loved style. Fashion fit for a second chance. eBay, sponsors of Love Island.
Should we talk about the Harriet Ronnie situation?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the boy I would like to couple up with is Ronnie.
Obviously, Harriet has picked Ronnie.
Yeah.
But Ronnie's face told a different story in my eyes. He still looked a little bit upset by the rejection of Jess.
Yeah.
Despite him clearly living rent-free in Jess's head based on that speech.
I feel like he was probably taken aback
by the
and
speech.
Gobsmacked that he just got parred around the fire pit.
Yeah,
he probably
it was
didn't
so
see it
public.
coming, did he?
Yeah, it was very public.
So
It was
he's
out of
probably
nowhere.
still burning inside, thinking, "Oh, I was actually gonna like couple up with Harriet
The heartburn
anyways and go
feeling.
for her, but now you've hurt my feelings."
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's the case.
And I feel like Jess has forced his hand without forcing his hand. And I think he doesn't like it, you know?
Yes.
Because she's already kind of checked out, and the way she said that in that speech, she's forced a situation without it being on Ronnie's terms. So he's probably, like you said, taken aback, and he probably feels disrespected. And on top of that, he's probably not taking I'm with Harriet. He's thinking about the disrespect. I felt uncomfortable for Harriet because Harriet's speech was very much, I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to go with what
It was so graceful.
It was graceful. It was so nice. I felt bad. He didn't hug her. He didn't put his arm around her.
No, he just looked annoyed about it, didn't
very
he?
annoyed.
Maybe it's a classic case of like wanting what you can't have, and when you get it, you don't want it anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think so?
Because he's had Jess available for however long, 4 days, maybe
especially
longer.
whilst he was doing his whole going back to Harriet. Harriet, she was still.
She was hanging around. She was lingering,
Yeah.
right? But now she's basically gone, I'm taking myself off the table.
Yeah.
In his head, he's gone, oh.
Yeah.
Turns out I do like. Because it's stuff like that makes you realise you like a girl,
It does.
particularly in that environment,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
But in normal life, you don't really need that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like in this situation, like that makes you realise. So I think in that moment, he's gone, and at the exact moment, I realised.
And you know what as well? Obviously, we're here saying, you know what? And I still stand by it. It was disrespectful to Sean. I think it was quite insensitive. But on the flip side, he could be thinking, wow, for you, Jess, to stand up here and actually talk about me still,
Yeah.
you obviously still like me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Because if you compare it
Or
to...
care about
Do you
me.
think he's realised that though?
He does know.
I think he's got twinkles of it, because if you compare Uma's speech to Jess's speech, she didn't focus on Io
at all.
She spoke mainly about Omar, and that was it. She made it very clear, like, this is who I'm going to get to know.
That's very true, actually. Yeah.
So you
She
see
did it right.
She did it
She
right.
didn't do a Ronnie or a Jess.
She did it very
She
right.
did it right. I personally wish that the guys picked, because the whole triangle situation was the fact the girls were waiting on the guys.
Yes, the guys
and
weren't
if
picking.
that was a situation where
Yes.
the guys got to pick, then it was like, okay, we can all actually really nip this in the bud.
Yeah.
We actually know what Io is thinking, if he wants Mimi or Umar.
Yeah.
We know if Ronnie wants Jess or Harriet.
Yes.
And that's it. I feel like everyone would just feel like
We can move on to a new chapter.
We all know now.
Hopefully things will change. As we saw, we'll get into it, but as we saw at the end of last night's episode, we've got 3 new bombshells.
Yeah, we have.
So happy.
But yeah, hopefully if that happened, we could have been at ease that, we're not going to have another week of the same conversations.
But the thing is it going to come back around because the girls are picked? Like the boys have still not made the decision.
And I don't feel like Jess is completely over it.
She's not.
That book is still open. That door is still open. If Ronnie straightens up and comes and said, you know what, Jess, I'm not going to lie, I messed up. I'm done with Harriet now. That's what she wants.
Yeah, that's what she wants.
So it's not done yet.
Yeah, 100%. I fully agree with you on that.
I might have found the one in the villa, but there's only one mobile provider that you should be coupled up with, and that's Sky Mobile. They should be your type on paper because they make it all about me, me, me. And who doesn't want that? Sky Mobile lets you upgrade your phone and plan so you can swap it in for a newer model. You can even do the dumping over text.
You're now single, therefore you have been dumped from the island.
Text PAC to 65075 to switch to Sky Mobile today. Samantha and Joey, we saw last night's episode, they did go on a date and she did pick him at the recoupling. Yeah. How do we feel about that?
I just feel like she wants to wear his skin.
Is that a bad thing? I mean, like me personally, maybe because I'm in a relationship, it's a bit different, but I don't mind wearing Dammy's skin.
Yeah.
Like me,
but you're
honestly,
in a relationship. You've known him for so long.
I'm literally, when he's wearing pajamas, I'm putting one foot down his leg. Like, I'm there.
Hey, that's cute when you've been together for a long time.
I'm underneath his jumper. I'm snuggling right under him.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, we didn't need that amount of detail, but it's good to know for future reference. Next time I see Dammy, can't wait to chat about that. I don't know. I think it's just too early. And I don't think it's reciprocated.
Oh, yeah.
My general feeling is, as we've seen by one of the new bombshells, Joey's had a history with him. I'm guessing it's Grace, based on her
Grace
job.
was the bright blonde.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a troublesome time for young Joey.
Absolutely.
And do you know what as well? The scenes when they came back from the date and you had Joey debriefing the guys and you had Samantha like debriefing the girls. Samantha was so much like, she was very much as if like, they on the same page. Oh, when it was me, we instantly knew it was me. All of those kind of talks. And she was smiling. You saw the twinkle in her eye. And then Joe was talking about parking gears or something. He was neutral.
Parking brakes on.
And I noticed something on the date as well. Personally, if I like someone, I really am secure. Like, I know, like, this is it. I would be like, if there was someone to come in and do bombshell, I wouldn't expect you or want you to get to know them. I feel like where we are now. And Joey made that very clear. Like, if you want to, girl, you go do you.
He was almost teeing himself up for it, wasn't he? Like, you can do this now, but then don't get sad if I do it. And she kind of agreed to it, but through gritted teeth.
Yeah,
and then did a classic, showed exactly what she was thinking on her face. Because she's got a very expressive face. She can't get away from it.
This is literally the thing we said, how sometimes when girls and guys have conversations, what the girl takes from the conversation can be so different to what the guy takes. And then you got completely different versions of the stories. And then it's like, but I thought we were on the same page. Completely.
Because it did actually feel like they were on the same page on the date to a degree.
It was all like the energy was bubbly.
Exactly.
And
it felt like aligned. But then the chats afterwards, Jupiter and Pluto. I don't know much about space. I don't know how far they are apart. But what I'm trying to say is universes apart.
Yeah. And I feel like as well, what I thought was a bit like, when obviously Joey was explaining how he felt to the boys. And you know when the boys are like being all laddie about it and they're laughing because it's like, oh, we know you're not really that interested anymore. You know when someone's like, you know when you come back from like a not so good date and you tell your girls about it and then we're all like, ha ha. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like if it was like a serious situation, there'd have been no room for giggles.
They were like, yes, bro.
Yeah, bro. But they were kind of sort of like, not taking the mick out of him, but like, it seemed like a banterous conversation. Like, oh, I know you're not taking this situation seriously. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how their situation plays out now that we've got 3 bombshells entering the villa.
Happy.
But I do think Joey wants to explore.
Same.
And he likes Sam, of course.
Yeah.
But he's not as like into it. Like Sam literally thinks they're about to be boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah. Well, like you said earlier, like if Joey was to propose,
she would say
it would be a hell yeah.
She absolutely
But
would.
it's needed, I'm not going to lie. I personally feel like Sam's been very comfortable. They were voted, they were the top, their names got called out first. And earlier in the episode as well, I think they were having a conversation about Joey, you're the nation's favourite. So she's in a comfortable position, you know, and no one's threatened that position.
Yeah.
So I feel like the new bombshell coming in, I've been waiting for this table shake, I keep saying it. But I've been waiting, what that coming in is just, we'll get to see Joey what he's really feeling and how far he's going to be honest with 100%. How he feels. And also we'll see how far Samantha will go because she seems to me that someone that's gonna, you're my man, my man.
Yeah. So. I think it's going to be tectonic because based on her reactions to a couple of things, Uma came in and kissed Joey, and she was fuming about
She
that for a
cried.
good 24 hours.
Cried.
And
She
Joey
was
had like no control over that, and she
Yeah.
was fuming at Joey for it.
Yeah.
And I think there's been a few little hiccups like that. If he actually starts chatting to another girl, it's
True
gonna be
interest.
written all
Even
over
like
that face.
game challenges,
Yeah.
she's not had a
Yeah.
second of it. She's been very
Oh,
expressive.
in the challenge
Yeah,
as well.
she's like,
Even when
Joey,
he's
come
like-
on, hurry
yeah,
up,
yeah,
go
get
kiss
on with
her.
it then.
Yeah.
Get on with it. It's not funny anymore type thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then she said she was going to kiss Jess and didn't, and I'm still waiting.
Oh Lord. You know what? I feel like as much as we can see that Samantha really likes Joey, who knows? This might even be something good for her. Like it could be a
Yeah.
bombshell coming in, and as much as she thinks she likes Joey,
Yes.
the new bombshell, she might see him and be like, actually, yeah, Joey, crack on with someone else because I actually want to give myself the chance to crack on too.
We've got Will, the bombshell, coming in from Whitley Bay. He's a quantity surveyor.
Yeah.
Quantity surveyor.
It might change for
Yeah.
us. So, we'll find out.
That's a
tonight's
sexy
episode.
job, that.
Which one?
Sexy.
Quantity surveyor.
What is that?
Means you survey quantities.
Of what, properties?
Quantities of what?
Just quantities, like sometimes it's rice, coffee beans, just quantities of things.
Checking how much of something there is.
I think it's a good job as far as I'm aware. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you have to be quite smart. I think you got maths. under your
Surveyors are
belt.
very,
Yeah, yeah.
very academic from what I know.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then we've got Tiffany Layton, 25 from Hertfordshire, and she's a HR coordinator.
Low key, I think she might go for Sean.
She could.
Do you know why? I just thought Sean or
I hope so.
Kieran. Yeah, think about it. Like now we have 2 girls and 1 guy.
Yes.
So the girls usually pick 2 or 3 guys they're interested in.
Yeah.
It's fair game. But Kieran, you're 140% in, so we'll see.
It's
We'll
just
Yeah,
so
yeah.
rookie.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like it's so rookie saying things like that. I mean, to be fair,
So
it was
early.
140% in, and you've not even seen a bombshell you're interested
Such a
in.
random number as well. Like,
It's
why?
so because it's
Why
like
140?
you can't get yourself into situations that are hard to undo. Now you've said this to Nicole.
Yeah.
When these 2 gorgeous ladies walked in, you have to keep your eyes closed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because if you go and
You
open
have
and look
to.
now, what on
Yeah,
earth are you
go
gonna
and
say
close
to
yourself
Nicole?
in a cold,
Oh
dark
yeah,
room.
I did say 140% last
Yeah.
night, but
Yeah,
now
You cannot now.
I've
You
changed
said
my
it.
mind.
You can't renege on that. That's going to be painful.
yeah, he's got himself in something that's going to be
Also,
quite hard to undo.
I'm noticing Tiffany is a HR coordinator.
Yeah.
If I know anything about HR, they can have a difficult conversation.
They can.
They let people go.
Wow.
They
So
do
I
let
reckon
them.
she might have a bit of a savage side to her.
Oh, I
Just
can't
straight,
wait.
direct, down the line. Listen, I like
Maybe.
you. Let's be together.
Yeah.
Like that
HR
kind of vibe.
coordinators, it's a big job.
Mm.
But guys, what happens if one of them wants Ronnie? I don't think
Oh,
Jess
don't,
can
please.
take it. I don't think
Yeah.
Jess.
Ronnie's had
No.
enough attention over the last week. We don't need to talk about Ronnie anymore.
Think about
Yeah.
it. If that happens again, I don't know if Jess is
Jess
going
is
to go
literally
over.
just. If that does happen again, I think Jess will just have to do Jess.
Yeah.
And she will need to absolutely just X them out and focus on herself and just get to know the people. At that
Yeah,
point.
she
Yeah.
has
Like,
to.
You can't keep
You-
waiting for him.
Yeah.
You got to remember,
Tell
though,
us.
he is Turbo Ronnie.
He said
If
himself.
anything, we've only seen him in 3rd gear for the last few days.
Yeah.
Like, what if he bangs it back into 5th?
I mean, speaking of removing themselves from situations, we had Uma.
Yeah.
And it was very quite clear in last night's episode that she's been like, you know what? I've had enough of this. I
Yeah.
can see that you and Mimi, in regards to Io, are getting along very nicely. And you know what? I don't want to be in this triangle anymore.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
do you think that's the end of it now? And it's,
I think it is. And I personally really liked Uma really stood on business and she done it in such a good way. She had the conversation with AO, like, I'm getting myself out of this situation. You two have a better connection. It
Yeah.
seemed like she saw what maybe everyone in the villa was
Yeah,
seeing
yeah,
and
yeah.
she said, you know what, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think she's done with the triangle. I think any girl wants to be number 1 and she's
Yeah.
not feeling that from AO. And
100%.
Yeah.
I rate the way she went about it as well, actually,
Yeah.
because she was very conscious of everybody else's feelings in the
I agree with
process,
that,
which
yeah.
yes, she
is actually really hard to do in that
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
Like, she was checking in on everyone and trying to be honest. And there was a few times where Mimi slipped and didn't really tell her exactly what happened type
Yeah.
thing. But I think she can hold her head up high after that.
Same.
I think she ducked out at the right time. She gave it enough time to try
Yeah.
it. She backdoored it, Houdini'd at the right time.
I'm gonna be devil's advocate.
Oh, we love
Oh,
that.
go on then.
And
Devil's avocado.
I don't think Uma's done anything wrong.
Yeah.
And I think I really appreciate that she's removed herself from the triangle and be like, you know what? I don't want to be second best. What I don't really appreciate is that Mimi and Uma weren't the ones that couldn't decide on who they wanted. It was
Yeah.
Io. And I very much feel like it was for him to nip it in the bud
Yeah.
and for him to be like, this is who I want.
Yeah.
But firstly, for me, if I was Mimi, I would be feeling like, okay, Uma's nipped this in the bud with you. If she didn't, would you have picked her?
her,
Are you
yeah.
only with me because you don't have a choice to be
There's
with me?
unfinished
Because
business
Uma
there,
has
isn't
said
there?
no.
Yeah.
And then I'm hearing Io say things like, oh, I could walk away empty-handed. It's like, Well, if you had chosen me in the first place, you wouldn't
decisive.
be empty-handed. Like, you would have known who you wanted and it would have been done. It's like when someone else has to make the decision for you, I find it very off-putting.
Yeah, and
not very nice.
I think he was pretty hard flip-flopping for the last few days as well. Like, I couldn't tell at times whether it was Umar or Mimi that was more into. I feel like whatever couple he was in at the time, he seems to be more into. Obviously, that is a big thing, as we know, being in there when you get like the bedtime cuddles and that.
Yeah.
When you're doing the old spoons, it does exacerbate the situation. It makes it go a lot faster, advances it. But I don't know if he knows.
Yeah.
He's a Boy Scout lost in the forest without a compass.
That confused me.
Even like when he was telling the guys in the beds and stuff like, oh, she's kind of cut it off. He was still so confused.
He was still confused.
And I was just like, it was as if he's not understanding. You're on Love Island. The two girls like you. They made it very clear. They're waiting for you to pick. Umar is tired of waiting around. And Mimi also, even before Umar told her, like, oh, I'm going to cut him off, she was like, I'm tired. There's not much more I can do. So his delusion is irritating me. It's giving delusion.
It's a lot.
But even the fact when it was Ronnie and
the boys
Kieran, they were like, even telling him, like, giving you advice, like, if you're going to pick from us as your friend, we feel like Mimi's a better option. So it's like, you still had advice to pick someone and you still giving, I don't know. And for me, I'm tired. Like, man up.
Fair.
I agree.
He's quite a brazen guy, though, you know. Have you noticed this? He was about to get ironed out by Umar for kissing Mimi.
Yeah.
He had his boxers on. He did that in his boxers.
If I'm about to
get ironed out by a girl, I want armour. I want layers, padded layers. He's just out there like, go on then, whatever. Like, you would see the shrinkage if it was me. It's terrifying.
I feel like more than anything, what I would love, obviously the triangle, it seems like it's very much over.
Yeah.
What I would like from Iron Out is just a bit more certainty and be sure on who you want.
But is that because he actually just doesn't like either of them and he just wants somebody else to come in?
And that's what it's giving now. I'm starting to feel like, do you really like Mimi?
So I don't know why my hands are doing this, but how? They're like two of the hottest girls that have ever walked into Love Island. They're both after you and you cannot pick.
But
and
you know what as well?
One.
Him and Ronnie kind of gave this like vibe, like, but someone else could still walk in.
Stop thinking about it.
I'm thinking they still feel like they can do better. And I'm thinking, who has gassed these guys up? Like, genuinely, I don't know.
I actually have an answer for that. I've just realised. It's early door syndrome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you don't want to pick too
early
soon.
on. At the beginning of the season, you don't want to make too many rash decisions early on. And I think this is actually what Io and Ronnie are both struggling with. Kieran's not. But Kieran's going to have different problems down the line by the looks of things.
Yeah.
But these two are very much like, it's dawn's crack. We're not there yet. They're just trying to keep the options gaping.
Yeah.
I agree,
open.
but I feel like, again, early doors, but the fact that it is early doors, it's okay for you to make a decision and change your mind. Just be open and honest. Like, there's no harm in Io being like, Mimi, I want you. And then a bombshell coming in and then him saying, I'm going to explore. It's when you keep balancing them off and not even making a solid decision.
Yeah, because like actually, if you communicate that properly, it's not such a bad thing. Listen, I want to be with you.
Yeah.
But, and the same goes for you, if somebody comes in that they're better matched for, I would like you to explore the same. I will explore, we will be open with each other.
Yeah.
I've done that and it can still go wrong, but that is the best approach, I think.
Because you two have both done Love Island, like, would you guys give yourself a time frame where you think this is the perfect time, week-wise, to start thinking, actually, do you know what? I've explored enough. There might not be much bombshells coming in. Maybe this person, I'm going to start just focusing on them. There's no time.
I feel like in the villa, you don't even have a concept of time. Everything blurs into one. So you don't even know if like something has been long or short. You really just go over how you feel with your heart. And like sometimes you feel when it's like enough is enough and it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. You just feel it. You can't put a time on it. You really can't.
Yeah, for me, there's nothing as sophisticated as that going on. It's just basically anybody who'll have me.
Yeah. I think it's easier for us to talk about time because we're watching it and we know what day it is. We know how long it's been.
Yeah.
But God's honest truth, when you're in there, you don't even know.
You get that text and you're like, I might be going home, someone might be coming in, you don't know what to do.
That's the other side of it though, isn't it? Like, obviously, it is early doors, but there's a time limit on all of this stuff on Love Island.
Yeah.
You never know what's round the corner.
Yeah.
You never know what's lurking in the shadows.
Yeah, you don't know when that text is going to come. Because like for us, when
literally.
you're in there, a bombshell could come. They could be gone in the next 2 days. And you literally don't know when they're going to go. So it's like, I don't know how long I have to actually get to know you. So let's do it. But then I don't actually like you. So let's not. But then what if you leave? It's tough. with that,
Tough
guys.
gig. Is that it? That's gone so quick.
I think it's been a good morning.
I really enjoyed
I've got
this
no concept of
conversation.
time talking about Love Island.
Honestly, time flies when you're doing things you enjoy.
Yes.
Yes,
And
it does.
on that note, Mariam, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's
Always a
been amazing. And Chris, I'll see you on Sunday.
Yes,
Because
you will.
Sunday, we've got After Sun.
After some baby.
Yes. And tomorrow, guys, make sure you tune in because tomorrow morning, we will have a very special guest. Any guesses? No guesses. That's a secret.
I've got a few ideas.
I think I know who it might be. It's going to be a good conversation.
A good conversation. So, guys, make sure you subscribe. And if you love the podcast, make sure to leave us a thumbs up and a 5-star rating. And we will answer your comments if you leave nice ones. Mwah. See you later. Bye.
Bye.